It's the Joseph Bristol Show.
If you enjoy the video, hit the like. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe.
Welcome to another episode of the Joseph Bristol Show, where I go over different social norms and things about our society and the world that I think need changing and adjusting, and I share them with you so that we can all help to change the world and make it a better place. And on today's episode, I want to talk about receiving information because, so I made a video about the burden of intelligence. This is something I say to my cousin all the time. The burden of intelligence is the ignorance of others, right? So being smart is hard because you are surrounded by idiots. And one thing I suffered from my whole life, since I was a kid, my mother never really let us talk slang. She hated that. She was big on, you talk proper English, you do not talk slang. So I didn't grow up like that. And one of the things that I've always struggled with, one of my insecurities, is how I talk. So because I talk proper English, growing up, I was always made fun of. People always would make comments like, oh, you talk like a white boy. You talk like a white man. And that always made me feel insecure. It made me feel like I'm pretending to be something that I'm not, because I'm not a white man. I'm a dark-skinned black person, right? And it's literally my whole life, it's always been other black people that say this to me. The worst part is it's usually dark-skinned black women who would say that to me. And it always made me feel insecure. It always hurt my feelings, to be honest with you. And even though I'm a grown man now, sometimes I'm out places and I'm talking and they would still say this to me. Literally people say that to me still. And it's always, again, made me feel some type of way. But as I gotten older, I realized that no, those people are ignorant. They're ignorant. They're dumb. They're literally just dumb. They don't understand that what I'm speaking is proper English. This is how all Americans should be talking, because this is how English sounds. But that's like an example of how the ignorance of others, the burden of intelligence is the ignorance of others, right? And then I could give you more examples of how being surrounded by dumb people is super annoying when you're a smart person, but whatever. So there's three things about this, right? So one of the things that people always say is, it's not what you say, it's not what you say, but how you say it, right? But how you say it, right? That's one of the things people say. Why is this thing so thin, yo? I want it thicker than that. Okay, yeah, let's increase the thickness. Put it at 5, right? And then another thing that people will say is, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Or people will say, it's the words that you use, right? It's the words that you use, right? So it's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's the words that you use to say it, the tone of your voice, right? The tone that you say it in. Yo, I'm making a video, so you can either sit on the phone silently or I'll call you back. All right, buddy, I'll call you back. Okay. Right, so it's the tone that you say it in. It's the words that, and I'm not even going to edit that part out. I want y'all to hear how this girl talked to me. And that's my favorite cousin, yo. She's mad stupid, yo. She's mad funny. She's not mad stupid, but she's mad funny, yo. She's ridiculous, but we talk like that. All right, so it's not what you say, but how you say it. It's not the word. It's the words that you use. It's the tone that you say it in, right? So people will say all of these things matter when you're talking to somebody. I'm not disputing that. These things do matter. They are important. But I want to emphasize that there's something way more important than these three things, okay? But let's listen to the recording and then we jump into this. What did I say? The truth is an insult, or it might be an insult, but it's not disrespect, right? But then it goes into how you say something matters. But then, I've always had an issue with that. Not really. It's more about how the person takes what you're saying. How do they perceive what you just said to them? And how they perceive what you said is determined by how they feel and think about you. So, it's like, okay, my kid's mother is dead. So it's like I meet a girl and she's trying to be a mother. I'm trying to think of a good example. I meet a girl and let's say, she's like really nice and she cooks for them. She buys them clothes. She talks to them. She's, kind of like being a mom to them. And let's say the girl is like, we're talking one day or we're arguing or whatever, but somewhere in the conversation she says, I'm the closest thing to a mom that they have. And my rebuttal is like, well, they have a mom. And she's like, no, they don't. Their mom is dead. Now, I could take that as disrespect. Like, oh, my God. Oh, you hurt my feelings. But it's like, no, what she's saying is true. Their mom is dead. And she's not saying to get over it and move on, but she's saying basically allow her to be a mom. What am I really trying to say here? I'm trying to say that there are truths that you can say to people or that can be said, and it's hurtful to the person. But in reality, it's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth. You're not a good person. You lose relationships because you're like hoish. You're dressing like a hoe. You're acting like a slut, whatever, Yeah, so those are not very good examples. But essentially what I'm saying is the things that people can tell you the truth. And so, right, okay, so this kind of goes into it hurts because you feel it to be true. Right? You feel it to be true. It's an insecurity. There we go. It's an insecurity. So this goes back into the example that I used when I started this. How I talk proper English and other people would say to me, you sound like a white boy, and that would hurt my feelings. And that would hurt my feelings because deep down inside, sometimes I would feel like, am I actually pretending to be someone that I'm not? Right? So I want to fit in with these people. I want this girl to like me. But she doesn't like me because I'm not like them. I'm not like them. I'm different from them. And so she's used to hood dudes. She's used to dudes that sag their pants and talk rough and use slang. And here I come with my pants at my waist with a belt on, talking proper English, using big educated college words. And so she doesn't like me. And that hurts me because then it's like, yeah, but I'm like you. So why you don't like me? And in her mind, she's thinking, you're not like me. You're like them. You're like them. Right? So it made me feel like I was being someone that I'm not. So in a sense, it sparked an insecurity in me because you feel it to be true. You feel like, could this be true? Is this true? Even if you don't think it consciously, subconsciously inside of you somewhere, you feel it to be true. That's why it hurts your feelings. Because if you genuinely didn't care, it wouldn't hurt your feelings when someone says it to you. Oh, you dressing like a hoe. You don't care because in your mind, you're like, I'm not. And that doesn't bother me. But if that bothers you, it's because somewhere inside you, you know that you don't want to dress like that. You don't want to be seen like that. So then it becomes, okay, well, why not just change the way that you dress? But because you are conditioned to believe, I can dress however I want. I can be whoever I want. And people should just accept me as I am. It's like, no, that's not the way the world works. if you feel some way, it's because you know you need to conform to this specific norm. Hey, that rhymed. All right, let's go into the second one. I guess ultimately I'm trying to say that people can say hurtful things and it's still the truth. How you take what they're saying is what makes it hurtful. So like someone could say, oh my God, you're fat, bro. You need to exercise and get your life together. Or someone can say, I've noticed that you put on a lot of weight, and this weight on you can be very dangerous for your health. And I would really like it if you started exercising so that you can live a long, healthy life. Both things are the same. Both things indicate the gaining of weight. Both things indicate the person's concern for your health. Both things indicate their desire for you to exercise. So your girlfriend might smoke and drink, and you might say to her, yo, babe, I want you to stop smoking and drinking. In her mind, oh, he's trying to control me. She could think that. Or she might think to herself, maybe he wants me to stop drinking and smoking because he wants to have a baby with me. And he understands that if I'm drinking and smoking, then it'll be much harder for us to have a baby. That's a lot for her to interpret from this man saying, hey, I want you to stop drinking and smoking. But then I guess it goes into context clues. So this episode is about how people have to perceive what you're saying. That's more important than what you say or how you say it, the words you use when you're trying to say specific things. Although it is important that we understand that the words that we're using to say specific things are important. Like that is a part of someone's interpretation of what you're saying. And you trying to get your point across, right? Context is important. Context clues and subtle insinuations, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, absolutely. So once again, I'm not saying that you should just say anything to anyone at any time and use any words that you want to say. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that how someone perceives what you're saying is determined on their level of intellect, how smart they are as a person, right? Their ability to interpret information, interpret words correctly. Who you are to that person, which goes into, you can't talk to me like that. Who are you? Or you can't say that to me. We're not even that close. We're not even friends. You can't talk to me like that. And who says it to you and when? Because if it's your husband, your brother, your sister who's saying something to you that's true, but you are in a really bad mood right now, you ain't going to want to hear that. You don't want to hear that crap. You ain't in a good mood. So like, okay, that makes sense. So how they take what you said is determined on who you are to that person and when you're saying it and their level of intellect. To me, that has to be more considered than what you're about to say and the words you're going to use when you say what you're about to say. More so consider who the person is or who you are to the person, their perception of you, right? Because you might think, oh, this is my friend. I could say this. But in their mind, you are not their friend. So you have to take into consideration, how do they perceive me before you say whatever it is you're about to say. And with that being said, thanks for watching another episode of the Joseph Bristol Show. Let's all remember that we all out here trying to do the same thing. Survive and be happy. Y'all stay blessed.